chase the net, I chase the more. I chase the shape of who to be, until I learned that all that noise was pulling me from me. The calm didn't come from winning, it didn't come from getting far. It came when I stopped reaching outward and learned to stay where I are. When I released the need to rush, to prove, to fight, to transform, silence showed me something true. Calm is the final form. Calm is the final form I reach. Not empty, not asleep, not still, but steady, clear, and fully awake, aligned with chosen will. Calm is the final form I hold, when nothing pulls, when nothing calls. Stay where every action fits, and nothing ever falls. The mind no longer asks for more, it rests inside the present now. The future doesn't pull ahead, the past doesn't ask me how. Each breath arrives and leaves with ease, each moment feels complete, because calm is not the absence of motion, it's motion with no defeat. I don't resist the world anymore, I don't escape its sound. I move through it untouched and clear, because my center's found. The chaos lives outside my core, it knocks but doesn't stay, and every step I take from here is chosen, not obeyed. There were years I thought calm was weakness, a pause between real things. But now I see his mastery, the place where everything begins. The work flows clean, the mind stays open, the heart is steady, wide and warm, and nothing needs to be forced when calm is the final form. I'll still work, I'll still move, I'll still build and create, but nothing pulls me out of shape, nothing disturbs my state. The effort is no longer heavy, the focus doesn't need to fight, because calm carries the direction now and makes each movement right. Calm is the final form I live, not something I must earn or chase. It's the result of all the silence, all the discipline, all the space. And when the world asks what I became after all this time and storm, the answer will be simple and true. I became calm, and that is the final form. time. I needed signs, needed results for every step. Needed the world to look my way, to feel the ground beneath my depth. I move with urgency and fire with questions chasing every move, until I realized how heavy it was to always try to prove. Now I walk without explanation, without the need to justify. The work speaks quietly for itself, and I'm no longer asking why. The silence holds what I have built, the calm confirms what I became, and nothing needs to be displayed for it to still be real and sane. Nothing needs to be proved now. No witness, no applause, no sound. The certainty is deep enough that it doesn't need the crowd. Nothing needs to be proved now. The knowing lives inside my chest, and peace has replaced the hunger that never let me rest. I used to measure every day by what the world would say or see, but approval is a fragile thing when it defines identity. So I step back into the quiet, into the space where truth is born, and found a strength that doesn't shake when validation is withdrawn. The work continues calm and clean, not louder, not more grand, but rooted in a deeper place that finally understand. I don't rush to share the progress, I don't race to show the climb, because the result is already here in how I use my time. There's freedom in not needing proof, in not defending where I stand, in letting the world misunderstand what only silence can command. The mind grows light when it's not pushed to justify each single breath, and clarity becomes the guide that leads me step by step. Nothing needs to be proved anymore, because the work is finally mine. Not borrowed from expectation, not dependent on the sign. I know the direction, I feel the ground. The path is steady, slow and true, and everything I build from here is built because I choose to. When the world looks for explanation, for answers, proof or form, I remain where I have arrived, calm, aligned, and warm. Nothing needs to be proved now, no statement, no defense, no show, because the strongest things I carry are the ones I'll never need to show. I sat in quiet longer than before, long enough to stop expecting sound, and in that space where nothing moved, I felt the answers forming round. Not in words, not in a voice, not in signs I had to chase, but in a calm that slowly shaped the direction of my pace. I used to ask the world for proof, for confirmation, for a sign, But noise only returns more noise when the mind is out of line. So I stayed with the silence still. I let the question settle down, and in the waiting something clear rose without a sound. The silence answers back, I know. Not loudly, but with shape and form. It turns confusion into lines, and doubt into something calm and warm. The silence answers back, I feel. When I stop trying to control, it places clarity in my hands and order in my soul. There were days the quiet felt empty, like nothing would ever come. But emptiness was only space where answers could become. The mind had to stop talking first, had to release its grip before the silence could respond with a steady, grounded shift. I learned to listen with my body, with breath, with patience, with time. And slowly the confusion fell into a pattern, clean and fine. The work revealed its next step. The path unfolded piece by piece, and clarity replaced the rush with something close to peace. The world still speaks, it always will, but I don't run to hear its call, because the deepest answers now don't come from sound at all. They rise when I'm still enough to feel what's already there. When the silence fills the room and rearranges care, the silence answers back each day in moments calm and slow. It guides the work, it guides the mind. It tells me where to go. And when the noise returns again, with all its questions stacked, I step back into quiet space and let the silence answer back. I stopped competing with the sound, with every voice that tried to lead, because the loudest ones I saw were never clear on what they need. So I stepped back, I slowed my pace, let silence sharpen what I saw. And in that space between the noise, I found an edge they never thought. The quiet isn't weakness here, it's where the vision learns to grow. While others rush to fill the air, I let my actions slowly show. No rush to speak, no need to prove. I watch, I learn, I wait my turn, because the calmest mind in the room is often the one that's here to burn. The quiet advantage is this: I see what chaos tries to hide. I feel the shift before it comes. I move before the wave decides. While others react, I respond. While others fall, I stay aligned. The stillness gives me time to choose. The sharpest move inside my mind. Oh, I learned to trust the silent hours, where no distraction pulls my hand, where discipline becomes a guide that helps me patiently expand. The noise is hungry, always loud. It feeds on fear and instant gain. But silence builds a deeper strain that doesn't crack under the strain. There were moments I felt invisible, when the world looked straight through me. But in that space of being unseen, I built the man I chose to be. No pressure, no applause to chase, no crowd to tell me when I'm right. Just quiet work and steady breath, turning darkness into light. Now when I speak, it carries weight, because I've listened long enough. And when I move, I do it slow, with clarity that's calm and tough. The world still shouts, it always will, but I don't need to match the tone, because the strongest plays are made when the mind is left alone. The quiet advantage stays with me, in every choice, in every step. A steady edge I never lose, a promise that the calm has kept. And when the noise begins to fade and all the echoes fall apart, what remains is what was built in silence, focus, and a steady heart. I stepped away before I broke, before the noise could shape my mind. I felt the pull of every voice, trying to claim what wasn't mine. So I chose space instead of fight, silence instead of wasting breath. Cause some battles can't be won unless you leave them where they rest. Distance is the weapon I use, not to escape but to become. By sharpen focus in the space between what's lost and what's to come. When I'm far, I see it clear. No emotion clouds the view. Every step away from chaos brings me closer to what's true. I learned that closeness blurs the lines. It feeds the doubts, it drains the will. But distance makes the vision sharp and teaches patience to stand still. The farther I move from the noise, the louder purpose starts to sound. It doesn't scream, it doesn't beg, it waits until the ground is found. I don't burn bridges, I let them fade. No anger, no need to explain. Some doors must close without a sound to protect what I'm trying to gain. And in the quiet space I keep, my mind becomes a steady flame. Not wild or fast, but always on, unaffected by the game. Distance is the weapon I hold. It gives me time to shape my strength, to study fear, to master doubt, to measure every step and length. While others stay too close to fire and lose themselves inside the heat, I step back far enough to see where discipline and calm can meet. There were moments I felt alone, when the space felt cold and wide. But I realized the emptiness was room for something deep inside. A mind that's free, a heart that's calm, a focus sharp enough to last. A future built on steady ground, not tied to echoes of the past. Now when I return, if I do, it's not the same as when I left. I carry clarity and control, not borrowed hope or fragile steps. Because the power wasn't found in staying close to what was loud. It was built in measured distance, where I learned to stand unbowed. Distance is the weapon still, not cold, not cruel, but precise. A space where I refine my aim and choose the moment to rise. What I protect grows strong and clear, far from the chaos, far from doubt. And when I move, it's not to run, it's because I mapped the route. No one sees the way I start, before the day can form a sound. When the world is still asleep and purpose waits without a crowd. No cameras on these quiet hours, no applause for what I do. Just small decisions made again that slowly shape the man I'm through. Discipline is not a show, it's not a spark, it's not a wave. It's the quiet promise I keep on days I don't feel strong or brave. It lives inside the empty space between intention and result, and grows each time I choose the word instead of comfort or default. Unseen discipline builds the core, the part no failure can erase. It trains the mind to stay aligned when pressure changes time and pace. While others wait for motivation, I move because the path is set. The habit holds me steady still when feelings fade and doubts are met. There were days the weight felt heavy, when progress moved too slow to feel. But I learned that patience is the strongest form of will that's real. Each silent task, each hidden hour was teaching me to trust the process. Because what grows beyond the eye is what endures when nothing's left. No one claps when I stay focused. When I close doors, no one would close. But every time I hold the line, I gain a strength the noise won't know. I don't explain, I don't defend. I let the results speak when they arrive. Because the work that's done in quiet is the reason things survive. Now when I stand in open light, nothing shakes what I've become. The foundation was built too deep to break when harder days will come. I carry calm in every step, a rhythm shaped by daily choice. And even when the room is loud, my discipline remains my voice. Unseen discipline still moves me in moments simple, small and clean. It's not a force that others notice, it's the strength that lives unseen. And when the world begins to ask how all of this was ever done, I know the answer is the same. I kept my word when no one watched and won. Awake before the world begins. No echoes in these empty halls. The air is still, the clock is slow. No names to call, no hands to hold. While others chase the morning light, I stay where silence feels like home. Because the work that shapes my life is never meant to be well known. No witnesses to count the hours, no noise to break the steady flow. Just focus carved into my breath, and patience learning how to grow. I move in ways they'll never track. No trail of words, no need to show. What's built alone behind closed doors is stronger than they'll ever know. The quiet isn't empty here, it's full of plans that don't speak out. Every thought is sharp and clean, cutting through the fog of doubt. And I learned that power doesn't shout. It listens, it decides. And when the moment finally comes, it moves like tides beneath the tide. I don't need eyes upon my steps, I don't need praise to feel complete. The silence keeps me disciplined, the path is narrow, slow and deep. Each lonely hour is a stone laid carefully beneath my feet. A foundation built so quietly, the world won't hear it when it speaks. There were nights the weight felt heavy, when the stillness stillness tried to break my will, but I stayed calm and stayed the course, and learned to master being still. Oh, the mind grows sharp when left alone, when nothing pulls it left or right, and clarity becomes a flame that burns the dark without a fight. Now when I rise into the day, I carry peace instead of pride. No need to prove, no need to rush, no crowd to keep me occupied. Because the strongest things I built were never born in open space. They were shaped in quiet hours, in hidden rooms at my own pace. No witnesses, no noise remain, only results that calmly stand. A life designed beyond the sound, held steady by a silent hand. And when the world begins to ask how all of this was ever done, I'll smile and say nothing at all, 'cause the silence already won. I closed the door and felt the shift. The noise fell silent at my feet. The world kept moving somewhere else, while I chose stillness over speed. Inside this space the air is calm, the mind is clear, the pace is slow, and everything that matters now is what I choose to grow. The world waits outside these walls, it can't knock, but it can enter here. This moment belongs to deeper work, to focus, silence, and the clear. The world waits outside, and I remain, not absent, just alive, because the life I'm building now requires an undivided mind. The silence here is not empty, it's full of steady motion. Each action shaped with purpose now, each thought placed with devotion. The walls protect more than my time, they guard the work I can't rush, and patience becomes a rhythm that guides me through the hush. The world still moves, it always will. It doesn't pause for me, but inside this room I hold the calm that shapes who I will be. I don't feel lost, I don't feel late, I don't feel left behind, because progress doesn't need an audience when the direction's defined. One direction, one demand. Everything that pulled me off, I released from my hand. I learned that power isn't found in holding more than I can hold, but in protecting what I choose with discipline, calm, and control. The noise is endless, always near, calling, asking, wanting space, but I don't answer every sound that tries to slow my pace. I built a rule inside my mind that nothing enters without a cost, because attention, once it's split, is the easiest thing to lose. Focus over everything, that's the code I live by now. Not because the world is small, but because I know how. Oh, focus over everything, every hour, every day. I let the clear and simple path push the rest of life away. I don't chase speed, I don't chase praise, I don't compare, I don't explain. I stay with what I started here until the end is clean and plain. The mind grows strong when it's not torn by every option, every door, and clarity becomes a shield when nothing else can enter more. There were times I wanted more freedom, more distraction, more, but I saw that wanting everything was what was breaking me before. So I chose less and found more depth. I chose one road and learned to stay, and in that narrow space I found the strength that does not fade away. Now my days move in a line, my actions speak without a sound. No wasted steps, no scattered plans, no energy leaking to the ground. The calm is deep, the work is clear, the vision holds me like a flame, and nothing pulls me from my path because I finally chose the game. Focus over everything, even when the world feels loud, even when the easy road is screaming from the crowd. Oh, I remain where I decided, where the work becomes my name. Because when focus leads the way, everything else falls into place. Isolation made me sharp. I stepped away when things were loud, when every voice tried to decide. I felt my thoughts begin to blur, so I chose distance as my guide. Not out of anger, not from fear, but from a need to see it clear. Because a crowded mind can't grow when it's pulled from every side. Isolation didn't break my shape, it carved the edges of my will. It stripped the noise, it cut the excess, and taught my restless mind to still. In empty rooms and silent days, I learned to listen, learned to wait. And every hour alone became a tool to sharpen what I make. Isolation made me sharp, not cold, not close, not far from life. It taught me where to place my focus, where to cut, where not to fight. Isolation made me sharp, I see the line, I feel the truth. The path is clean, the aim is steady, and every move is made with proof. There were moments I felt small when silence echoed far too loud, but I stayed there, I held the space and let the calm dissolve the doubt. I watched my thoughts slow down their pace, I saw what mattered fall in place, and clarity replaced the rush that once controlled me from the crowd. I stopped reacting, stopped explaining, stopped chasing what I couldn't keep. And in that space I found the strength to think, to plan, to move, to deeper and deep. No one else was in the room, no borrowed goals, no borrowed voice, just me and time and discipline, turning stillness into choice. Now when I step back into motion, I move with accuracy and calm. I don't waste force, I don't waste words, my focus stays where it belongs. The sharpness isn't in my tone, it's in the way I see the field, in how I wait, in how I act, in what I never have to yield. Isolation made me sharp, it shaped the edges of my mind. It cut away what didn't fit and left the truth I couldn't find. And even now I carry space inside my thoughts, inside my plan, because the man I am today was sharpened when I stood alone. I learned to move without a sound, no footsteps on the ground. I walk while voices filled the empty rooms. I chose to listen, not to talk. The world was loud with borrowed dreams, everyone shouting to be seen. So I stepped back and closed the door to build the man I hadn't been. No lights were on, no eyes were near, just late nights and a steady mind. Every doubt became a tool, every loss a sharper line. I didn't need to make a scene, didn't need to prove my name, because the quiet taught me more than applause or empty praise. I built in silence, brick by brick, when no one cared to look my way. Each moment lonely, cold, and still was shaping strength I couldn't fake. I built in silence, slow and deep, where patience learned to hold the weight, and discipline became my voice when words were weak and pride would break. There were days I felt the pull to run back to the noise and glow, to trade the dark for easy warmth, to let the crowd decide my role. But something stronger held me still, a calm that grew inside my chest, a quiet fire that whispered truths no one else could ever guess. I watched the hours stretch and bend as focus turned to something pure. No shortcuts left, no mask to wear, only work that would endure. And slowly, without warning signs, the silence started speaking back. Not with promises or dreams, but with a steady, solid path. Now when I walk into the light, I carry nothing left to prove. The noise no longer pulls my mind, the past no longer sets my rules. Because the strength you never saw, the nights I stayed, the doors I closed, are standing here in quiet form. A life that silence slowly rolled. I built in silence, and I stand not loud, not rushed, not needing more. The calm is deep, the mind is clear, and I know what I'm working for. What's built in silence does not shake, it doesn't fade, it doesn't bend. It lasts beyond the sound of crowds and outlives where the noise will end. I once believed that movement meant progress, that speed was proof of control. But I learned the deeper strength is found when nothing pulls a soul. I stopped chasing constant motion, stopped answering every sound, and in the quiet I discovered a power calm and grounded. Stillness is my discipline now, not absence, not escape, not rest, but a daily practice of restraint that holds my focus at its best. Stillness is my discipline now, a chosen space where clarity grows, and every action that I take is shaped before it goes. The mind used to fight the silence, it feared the pause, the empty space. But patience taught it how to stay and face itself with grace. Each moment I returned to stillness, the noise lost more of its claim, until calm became the default state and discipline the name. I don't react, I don't rush, I don't fill the space with sound, because I know that stillness is where the strongest plans are found. The pause between thought and action, where my power lives. It lets me choose with precision what the next moment gives. I wanted movement, wanted change to feel alive. But movement without direction is just a way to survive. Stillness gave me vision. It gave me depth and time. It showed me that restraint is how you truly climb. Now the calm is always with me in the room. The breath of day I carry stillness into motion, and it never fades away. The world can move in endless loops, it can shout and pull and call, but I remain where I decided, and I never fall. Stillness is my discipline, the rule I live inside. It shapes the work, it shapes the mind, it keeps the direction wide. And when the world is loud again and everything demands reply, I return to what I've built within. Because stillness is my discipline, and that is why I write. I step into a deeper place where clocks no longer have a say. The hands keep moving somewhere else while I remain, while I stay. No morning here, no end of night. No, I was pressing on my chest. Only the rhythm of the word and the calm inside my breath. The world fades out without a sound. Its urgency dissolves and bends, and every thought begins to move in patterns that don't need an end. I don't escape, I don't forget, I simply enter something real, a state where effort flows so clean, it's no longer something I feel. I work where time disappears, where minutes lose their shape and name, where focus holds the present still and nothing feels the same. I work where time disappears, where now is all that ever was, and every action feels complete without a pause. The deeper I remain inside, the quieter the mind becomes. The noise falls off, the edges blur, and clarity slowly comes. There's no need to check, no urge to rush, no fear of falling far behind, because the only thing that matters now is the movement of the mind. I used to fight against the hours, count the days and measure loss, but time dissolved when I learned to stay no matter the cost. Attention anchors everything, it bends the minutes into flow, and suddenly the work decides how fast or slow I go. My hands move faster than my thoughts, the body knows the path to take, and discipline becomes the guide. I no longer have to make the work unfold like something alive, responsive, calm and sure, and staying here feels effortless when focus is secure. disappears, and build where depth is crowned. I work where time disappears, and in that space I always know that what I build beyond the clock is what will truly grow. The world can rush, the hours can run, but I remain exactly here, working where the noise is gone and time no longer interferes.